Welcome to a world filled with challenges, temptations, and a barrage of distractions. In the midst of chaos, where misinformation abounds, we're here to be your beacon of inspiration. Welcome to Optimum Ideation Podcast, where we dive deep into the teachings of great leaders to illuminate the path to a better society. In a quest for the best of human ideation, we're on a relentless pursuit to unearth the most profound insights that can elevate humanity. At Optimum Ideation, our mission is clear: to share invaluable knowledge with the future leaders of the world, empowering them to navigate the complexities of an unjust world. Sometimes all we need is a spark of inspiration or a fresh perspective to shift our focus. Join us as we delve into the profound reasons behind human behavior, offering tricks to save time, hacks to optimize your operating system, and unveiling captivating discoveries from the greatest thought leaders of our time. Optimum Ideation isn't just a podcast, it's a journey into the heart of human potential. Get ready for a roller coaster ride of inspiration, insight, and innovation. Human's best ideation awaits you at Optimum Ideation, where brilliance knows no bounds. The best of human ideation. Welcome, Jermane Cheatham, to Optimum Ideation Podcast. We like to focus on platforms that are building to help others. And I looked at yours. It's Creators Learn. And so it's right up my alley. I've been a creator for many, many years out of my life as an artist and a business founder and achiever, I guess. But I'm interested in hearing what you have to say and learning a little bit about your story and how you got to here and why you wanted to build your platform. So if you would, tell us a little bit about your personal story, your career path, and how did you get to here?
Cool, Tim. Yeah, I always believe that, there's a misconception about creators is, people think creators are only people that are on TikTok and YouTube, but to me, creators are really entrepreneurs. Creators to me are really salespeople because at the end of the day, they create deals, clients, and results from nothing. And so I've always thought about the creator mindset of someone that is willing to do whatever it takes to make what they want to come true. And so when I first started off as a kid, I was fearful, I was scared. I really didn't want to venture out into the world, to be honest with you. I was very content to staying in my room. And at one point in my freshman year of high school, the first, maybe second week of school, I would just go home and play video games. And I started to have this epiphany, this realization that is this how I'm going to live my life? Is this the type of person I'm going to be? Am I going to be a person that doesn't venture out, that doesn't explore, that doesn't want to create, that doesn't want to interact? And at that moment, I said, know something, tomorrow I'm trying out for the football team. And long story short is I made the football team, but I became the starting quarterback. And I started to realize that there's no joy in being a spectator. There's no fulfillment in just watching other people play the game. And the only really satisfaction and juice in life is by actually being a creator of the life and business that you want. And so that was the lead domino that started me on this roller coaster ride of sales and entrepreneurship. And that's where I find you here today.
That's beautiful. I I definitely went through a similar story, if you will, and I didn't have kind of parents that were like pushing me or giving me direction, and so I kind of had to make my own. And like you kind of find things to fill time, and whether it be watching TV or playing a game or playing outside or what have you, but just knowing that there's more to life. There's more than just these things to fill time. uh, it's it's about creating your future, your family, your business. It's I love how you're focusing on that, and I think it's a really great thing, a really great direction, and I think it's going to help many people. So glad to have you today. Let's discuss some of your most challenging trials and tribulations of your time, because I feel that no founder, no entrepreneur has not been through some amazing trials and tribulations, if you will, uh, to get to this kind of lifestyle, this focus.
Yeah, so the most challenging thing for me probably was at the my very birth was I grew up never knowing my biological father and then eventually being abandoned by my adopted father at like around the age 7. So from this place of confusion and anger and fear, I had to decide two things. One, who am I going to be? And within that first question is, what does the world offer me? Is the world hostile or is it friendly? Which is a very famous quote by Albert Einstein, because it is the most important first decision you'll ever make. And it frames and it dictates the lens you look at life and business. And for me, I had to decide at that young age of 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, who am I going to be? And am I going to decide who I'm going to be? Or am I going to let the world dictate who I'm going to be? Because either you brainwash yourself or the world brainwashes you. And this is where this whole idea of this whole creator mentality came up. Is there's two types of people in the world, and they're not black and they're not white, they're not male, they're not female, they're not Democrat, they're not Republican. There's creators and there's victims. And I had to decide, am I going to be a victim of my circumstance and in my past, or am I going to be the creator today of my future? And that is just the lens how I look at everything, how I look at moment to moment decisions and actions I take. Is it from the lens of I'm going to create something for a better future Jermaine, or am I going to be a victim of my fears, insecurities, wants, needs, desires that are just part of this animalistic part of human nature? And those never really get you anywhere. They get you temporary relief from your pain, your emotional pain, but the pain still comes back. The only thing that really gives you ongoing joy, fulfillment, is actually executing on the thing you said you're going to execute on because you knew it is in the best interest of your future self.
Would you agree with me that the only way to get outside of your animal brain is to repent? Is to repent?
Is to what? To do what?
Repent.
Tell me more about that. What do you mean?
So for me, there's so much to be. We have access to so much now in this point in humanity. We have access to the internet. People are instantly, just instantly gratification. It's like, you have access to social medias. You have access to, um, a lot of people have access to pornography, or whatever you want is at your grasp. Now, the only way that you can get outside of your animal brain is to repent from these things, evil things, sin. You know, the way that I found that I was able to elevate myself and stay focused and maintain a good focus to be able to build businesses, multi-million dollar businesses, is to repent, right? It's to not indulge in these things. Like, if you're just um, drinking or smoking, or, doing, just watching pornography all day, or, whatever it may be that people are having their issues with, because everybody's is different. But the only way to get to that next level of focus and be able to build things of, of significance is to repent from all these things that we have access to. And that is where the normal average person who watches movies and TV all day, they're fed this, reality that they exist in, where they can simply indulge in all these things, alcohol and all these things, and live a amazing, fulfilling life. But I don't see that as the case. I feel like you have to leave those things behind in order to get to that next level of it's control, self-control. Would you agree with me on that?
I don't believe that there's anything in the world that's inherently bad or quote unquote evil because it's in the world. So I believe do whatever you want to do that's going to bring you fulfillment. But I'll tell you this, the things that bring you fulfillment are never from your lower animalistic self. Now, you can indulge in those things if you want, but it certainly should not preoccupy much of your time. And the vast majority of your time should be preoccupied by work, which is, I don't believe in working at more than 4 hours a day, because if you're extremely focused and you have the right strategy, and what I mean by that is you're not trying to chase 5 rabbits, you have one rabbit. Because if you can figure out how to leverage that one rabbit, you don't need the other four. And it won't take you more than 4 hours a day of extreme focus, discipline on that one rabbit. The rest of the day should be spent on thinking about how you can catch that rabbit quicker tomorrow, better traps to catch that rabbit quicker tomorrow. Letting your mind run free with ideation, iteration, and almost daydreaming about how you can make your life and business better by leveraging that one rabbit. If you want to smoke, you want to drink, you want to watch porn, I don't care. But don't have it be the predominant part of your day. You can be highly effective and functional with doing things that are quote unquote vices. Because remember, the rules that are made about what's good and what's bad, they're all subjective. They all change over the centuries. And things that were normal 1,000, 10,000 years ago are now you get your head cut off for today. In another 10,000 years, who knows what the policies and procedures will be of society, of the church, of whatever. So again, it goes back to the whole creatorship as an individual, is I believe is if you're a strong individual, without strong individuals, you can't have strong societies. You can't have strong countries. You can't have strong nations. You can't have strong an earth. You can't have a strong earth without strong individuals. So first, it takes strong individuals to let that reverberation go throughout society, And most people want to put society first and say, we need to take care of society first. But no, you need to take care of your individual self first. And whatever you need to do to make sure you feel good, solid, from a place of your higher nature. If you notice you're slipping into your lower nature and from this place of desire, you're always going there. Um, it's okay to notice you're going there. There's nothing wrong with that. It's normal. But you can't always satisfy it. For example, if I'm in my 4 hour time block, I'm chasing my one rabbit in my business. If I have the desire to go to YouTube and watch a YouTube video about how to chase the rabbit, I have to have the discipline to say, Jermaine, this is not the time to learn how to chase the rabbit. This is the 4 hour block of chasing the rabbit. In the afternoon, I can learn how to chase the rabbit for tomorrow. So it just comes down to discipline and understanding this is the time to do this. And this is what I'm doing. So I kind of have a weird perception on rules, dogmas of what has been taught to us from our parents, our family, our nation, our race, our religion. I don't believe any of it. I believe in what I believe from my own firsthand experience as being a human. Most of the things in the world that have been taught to us are just from a mechanism of control. And I am always going to be the one that has the locus of control.
Very good. Very good. Now, I like to think that, we're kind of born and we have a lot of the answers. Children are very smart, and we have a lot of the answers. And as time goes on, like you said, there's a bunch of dogmas and things that get layered on top of us. So, what layers did you have to reveal to become who you are now?
It's a great question. I think the most important layer to reveal to figure out who you really are is to realize that no matter what you decide you are, you're not that.
Yeah.
You are never the thing you think you are.
Yeah.
You cannot even fathom who you are
Yeah.
because I don't know about you, but I look up in the night sky and I see all the stars and I realize it's just one solar system
Yeah.
amongst trillions. And and if you think about physics and quantum physics and nuclear energy and all these things that we don't even understand, no
Yeah.
matter what my simple human brain comes up with, it'll never know the essence of what I am. But I do get glimpses of it. Like you're saying, when you watch children, when you watch puppies, when you watch nature, you're able to see glimpses of what the the truth and the essence of life is.
Yes.
And it has a lot to do with flow, being flexible, being open, being
Yeah.
curious, and also one of the most important ones is playing, having fun.
Yeah.
And I kind of always think about these layers of life, and I realize all the pain and trauma and frustration and heart attacks come from people staring at their own feet and never looking up at the horizon and realizing where they're actually at and
Yeah.
how amazing this experience is. And when
Right.
you reframe your quote unquote problems from how amazing the experience is, they don't become problems anymore. And actually, you feel lucky that you have the ability, the technology, and the know how to figure it out and fix them. Again, it goes back, are you going to be a victim or are you going to be a creator?
Yes.
And so the layers are, it's so interesting being alive and just being a human and then watching other humans, how they deal with this experience. And at the end of the day, you'll never know the layers. You don't know what layer you're at. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to get. You're just here. So enjoy the ride.
Yes. Um, yeah. It's once you become comfortable with just yourself and just comfort in knowing that you are not in complete control of everything and just kind of accepting things and not as a victim but as an experience, right? Then you can truly enjoy what's going on. But like yourself, Jermaine, I did not know my father either, and so I could have looked at life as a victim and just, you know, victimized myself and went that route. And I've seen so many people do it, but I decided not to do that. You know, I decided to just take this experience in life and see it for what it is and make the best of it, and not let things hold me back, not let my own fears hold me back, not let my own stresses and you know, things that happen to us, not let these things hold us back, you know, and just experience this uh, life with the most joy that I could, even in the worst of times. And it's, you know, that to me is making the most of this experience. So let me ask you, what is the next layer for you to remove?
Uh, uh, it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. The more I understand, the more I realize I don't understand. And so I start to have the realization that my entire life I've been trying to quote unquote remove layers and chase and obtain and try to feel better and try to improve and try to um, have personal development, which are all good goals, but they also cause pain because you realize there's a gap.
Yeah,
And so the real layer that I'm trying to remove is nothing. What I'm trying to pay attention to and stay present with is that things are happening. Things happen to me. Things in the world happen. Things happen to other people. Sometimes the internet goes out. Sometimes you'll lose a deal. Sometimes your phone runs out of battery. Sometimes the IRS comes knocking. But at the end of the day, all those are neutral events. And I realize I'm the one creating the meaning behind them, good, bad, or indifferent.
yeah,
And so I've I'm just learning to accept everything without any judgment, without any label to put on it as bad. Well, someone called, okay, we'll return the call or don't return the call, whatever you want to do, but there's no reason to add all the energy of emotion about the call, about what's going to be said, what's not going to be said, what are they calling for, what do they need, versus like just return the call and talk to them. And then whatever comes up, you address it at that point from a place of equanimity. And so the layers really is there's nothing to remove, just accept everything. And then you'll be way more efficient and you'll actually enjoy the process a lot more because there's not all this emotion tied to uh, the neutral event.
yeah. Very good, very good. Where do you ultimately want to go?
I ultimately want to go wherever life has in store for me. And so I understand I'm in control of my actions, but I'm not in control of anything else. So ultimately, life will tell me where I want to go based on the actions I take. And so my only goal is to help people use entrepreneurship as a tool to free themselves mentally. Because at the end of the day, all the money, all the time freedom, all the location freedom doesn't do anything unless you're free mentally. And so the process by going in the dark cave of entrepreneurship breaks you open so much because there's so much unknown and it's pitch black that when you come out of that dark cave, you realize that all that mental chatter that you went through was unnecessary and you caused all the pain yourself. But in order for you to have that realization, you have to go into that dark cave. And so, you as an employee, you playing it safe in life, you staying in your hometown, you never trying to figure out, well, maybe this next month I'll go live in China or Argentina or Dubai, and not knowing how you're going to get there, where you're going to stay. You don't have any
Yeah.
friends or family, just doing stuff. And like, how can I just work 4 hours a day and then enjoy the rest of my day, go on hikes, go on walks, go to the beach? And maybe I should learn a new language and meet people that I've never met from all over the world. That is what entrepreneurship allows you. It allows you to ultimately break down these labels, these ideas that people have implanted in your mind about what it is, what life's about, what's possible, and you shatter those. And then you go back to the original hypothesis I said before. I am nothing, you're nothing, but that makes us everything.
Very good. Yeah, it's the entrepreneur's journey, right? We jump off and do what not many do, and then but nobody will understand the depths of looking into your soul that is done through that journey. And I've been in it for about 5 years now, and man, I have learned a whole lot, not only about myself but about humans and just you really learn a whole lot about this world, and that if you don't go on that journey, then you'll never understand. You'll never understand. When did you become passionate about your focus?
I've always been passionate about sales and entrepreneurship because I knew it equaled freedom, and freedom was always my ultimate aim. And I think really my first freedom I wanted was mental freedom because I was so closed as a kid mentally and so scared and so apprehensive of what to believe.
Yeah.
So I've always been extremely passionate about freedom. And now the transition with Creators Learn is like I watch these entrepreneurs and these employees and people in their businesses, and it's so clear as day where they're making mistakes because they're not thinking from a place of first principles, which is what do they want and why do they actually want it? So they don't have any clarity, number one. And then number two is they have no strategy. And to me, strategy is just about simplicity and leverage, where you put a little in, you get a lot out. And most entrepreneurs, just people in general, they're just doing a bunch of stuff. Just doing a bunch of stuff, bunch of stuff, running around, running around, running around. But there's no game plan. There's no strategy, and it's not simple. It's very complex. They have 5 different products and 4 different websites, and you know how people are. And so, and then the last part is it's just the execution of it is so simple once you have the first two figured out, the clarity and the strategy. The execution is this 4 hours of focused work. That's it per day on this one thing, this one strategy. And my real passion is to help people see this clearly within their business because really business is so simple when you realize business is done with other humans. So if you understand other humans from a
Yeah.
psychological standpoint and your incentive structure is aligned, so everybody wins. So it's a win-win-win for me, my partners, and my clients and their clients.
Yeah.
There's no selling. You don't have to sell. They do the marketing for you. And so my whole methodology is about this idea of most valuable partners. I'm looking for partnerships.
Yeah.
And the partners that I decide to go into business with, their clients are not only my clients, but they're also their clients.
Yeah.
And my product satisfies both their needs. And so it's just about thinking holistically about, okay, I have my ideal avatar, but I'm not going to sell to them. Who are the people that already have the trust of my ideal avatar that I can just partner with and they all win? And so it's a really simple framework, but just most people overcomplicate things because most coaches, consultants, businesses, they want to sell complexity. That's how they make money. And I'm about simplicity and minimalism.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, that could be a huge value to others, of course, but also an enjoyable path for you. So when you first started on this journey in your career, what is something that was more trying than you had expected?
The hardest thing when I first got started, just in general, was sales.
Yeah.
It was so hard because my number one fear was rejection.
Yeah. Right.
And sales, that is the number one thing that happens every day.
Yeah.
And I'm a big proponent of exposure therapy, because if you're scared of something and you get around it enough, the fear is going to go away because you get used to it. It's no different than when you buy the Ferrari and after 6 months, you're like, it doesn't give me any juice anymore because you got used to it. And so sales was hard. I was making 300 cold calls a day and I hated rejection, but I got it 290 times a day. But that was okay. I had to overcome it. Again, I wanted mental freedom and I wanted financial freedom and I wanted location freedom and I wanted my time freedom. And I knew sales was the best method to get there. So sales was number one. That was the first challenge I had. And then secondly was marketing. And so I had a direct line to the customer and there was no middleman of marketing, if you will. And so then when I started with my first training and courses, I realized, oh, I got to market this because
Yeah.
this is for a much bigger swath of people. And I didn't realize how to market effectively. I didn't understand how different marketing is than prospecting or direct sales. And that was kind of a shock to me, the whole marketing aspect of it, because I just wasn't used to it. It's a very, it's an interesting thing because the people that are teaching it don't really know how to do it. Here's the thing. Here's the other thing about anybody in the world. Most of the people teaching you about something have never excelled at it. They've
Yeah.
never mastered it. They've never, maybe they sold one product online and now they're teaching how to sell products online.
Yeah.
They haven't
Exactly.
done millions and millions of dollars or whatever. So um, most people are just trying to figure it out on the fly, and it's hard to read through all the BS of those types of people.
Right.
So that was always kind of a struggle for me. Like, oh yeah, I'm an expert in funnels, and then you realize they don't know shit about funnels.
Yeah. After
Um,
you spend thousands of dollars, right?
yeah.
Trying to,
So,
yeah, trying
but
to
but
learn from them.
but at the end of the day, it falls back on your shoulders. Like again, I'm 110% responsible for every
Yeah.
decision and everything that happens, good, bad, or ugly.
Right.
So those were the kind of the hard things. Really, was sales and marketing. Everything
Yeah.
else is pretty easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen those things along my journey as well. It's like I was probably one of the best project managers, estimators in pipeline construction. And then, once you go start your own company, you have to learn all these little bits and pieces, and just you're building the story, you're building the company, you're having to learn yourself, the sales and marketing aspect. And it's just, there's so much that you have to pick up along the way, and learn about yourself too. And it's just, it's definitely pays to have people that understand, what you're going through on your side. So tell me, who were the greatest contributors to your character?
The greatest contributors of my character were definitely my mom, my grandmother, and just the library at large, books at large, because they allowed me a lens into what's possible in the world. They allowed me to see all these interesting people's thoughts and ideas that they decided to sit down for months or years at a time to put this down on paper, because writing a book is not easy. Even writing a post is not easy.
Right.
So um, it gave me my imagination fuel. Um, my grandmother was very eclectic in the way she thought about uh, life and life just in general, really. My mom was such a hard worker that so you have these kind of three things working where I saw work ethic. I have kind of an eclectic thinker looking from different lenses. Then you have the library full of everybody's wisdom throughout humankind, really. And you combine those three things, it's not hard to succeed once you quit the victim mentality.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you just say, hey, it's up to me. It's going to be if the ship goes down, it's on me. If the
Yeah.
ship makes it to London, it's on me. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. We, we truly only have ourselves. You like to think that you have all these friends and all these people that are on your side, but when all the cards fall, it's you, and it's all up to you and whatever you make out of it. If you could interview three people, who would it be?
if I could interview three people, number one is going to be Jesus, and not
Yeah,
from a religious lens,
sure.
just from the lens of, do you realize what everyone's saying about you?
Yeah.
Do you know what they're attributing to you? And I would love to see what he had to say about that, because he's definitely a prophet and definitely a, a figure that has grown into this thing. And so it'd be fascinating to hear his take on how his mystique has grown and what he thinks about it. Number two, oh man, who would be number two? That's a tough one. No, what an interesting one would be Helen Keller.
Yeah.
And the reason why, deaf, blind, but so wise, and I would love to tap into how she redirected her senses and like what other senses she has that normal people that have sight and that have hearing just don't have. Because I
Yeah.
imagine you're so much sharper in some other realm that I just don't understand. So I'd love to understand that. One of my favorite quotes ever is her quote about life is either adventure or it's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so true.
Yeah.
Um, and number three, who would be number three? Um, I don't even know who would be number three. I can't think of anybody off the top of my
It's
head.
okay. Yeah. So, what practices or techniques make your day a success? And this may be your 4-hour workday, or this may even be, do you drink a special tea, or do you have what is your supplements, etc.
So I'm a win and roam kind of guy. So I travel around the world to a new country every 1 to 3 months. So it depends on the country I'm in, depends on how my day is structured. So out here, I'm in Argentina, they drink a lot of mate, which is like a green
Yeah.
tea. So my normal procedure for the most part is, and I'm not dogmatic on my schedule. Like as long as I'm 70, 80% of the time I stick to this, everything's
Yeah.
fine. It goes back to my whole idea of like, you can indulge in quote unquote bad stuff. It just can't be all the time. So most days I wake up around 5 a.m. And my new procedure is within 3 minutes of waking up, I'm starting my first 90-minute time block. I just turn on my phone's timer for 90 minutes and I start on that single task that I know has the highest leverage, and I just do it for 90 minutes straight within the first 3 minutes of waking up. That way, my brain doesn't even have an opportunity to have the resistance to procrastinate. I'm
Yeah.
just in it because it's still asleep. It literally, and so within 30 minutes, all of a sudden, I'm in flow. I'm in the zone, and so that's number one. After the first 90-minute time block, I usually either go on a walk. There's a huge park here in Buenos Aires, and I usually go down there. I usually go to the gym and I work out, and then I come home and then I do my last two time blocks, which are about an hour and 15 minutes each. And then by noon, I'm done. I'm done with my heavy stuff, and I'm done for the day as far as the actual in the business, the actual taking proactive action by noon. Then I typically break my fast. I usually fast for 18 to 20 hours every day.
Yeah.
And then I usually eat. And then I usually go on another long walk. And I just start thinking about, okay, how can I improve what I did during my time blocks? How maybe what's a different angle? What's a different messaging? What's a different, whatever I was working on, how can I make it better for tomorrow? And the rest of the day is really just, I can go down rabbit holes of like getting ideas, listening to podcasts, reading books, watching YouTube. If I want to work a little bit more on stuff that's more research oriented, that's fine. But I do not do any more of the actual outbound, reaching out, proactive activities.
Yeah.
I set a very strict standard on that because what I notice is I'm more focused during the 4 hours when I do that, and I actually get more done. I get in the zone quicker, and I don't have this temptation to keep working on stuff later into the night, into the afternoon. So as the evening comes around, I'm ready for bed by 8:39,
Yeah.
and I'm out. So sometimes I journal. If I'm feeling like anxious, I'll just write down Jermaine's feeling anxious.
Yeah.
And when I look at it, when I read it to myself, I'm like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
And I look up at the sky and I'm like, that's retarded. And then
Yeah.
I can reframe the 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 fears, the anxieties, whatever. Um, Sometimes I'll meditate. I love listening to music. Music first thing in the morning is always great for me because it sets my mind to this place of a creator mentality.
What kind of
That's,
music do you listen to?
oh man, I have a very eclectic taste. I like classical, I like country, I like rap, I like pop, I like all types of stuff. So
Good.
as long as it's good music, I'll listen to it. And as long
Yeah.
as it's either inspiring me or making me think about my life, reframe my life, I have a playlist. Listen to the same playlist every day. It's probably, I don't know, 30 songs. And usually sometimes when I wake up, if I'm not doing my immediate 3 minute thing, I'll just sit in bed and let the playlist go for like 2 songs. And then the third song is like my ignite song. It like just gets
Sure.
me up and like, okay, now I'm ready. Let's
Yeah.
start. So that's really, I don't have like a really strict
Yeah.
thing. And then I usually stop eating around 6, and then I can fast another 20 hours. And so I really can eat whatever the hell I want because I have this short window of eating, and I don't have to work that much because I focus on the important 1 or 2 things every day.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Yeah, I think that this little question right there, it really helps a lot of people because everybody's wondering, how do I become better? What can I do? What can I do to make my system operate better? So I really love that question and the answers that come out of it. Uh, so, what is your best piece of advice for an audience that truly wants to better themselves and others in this life?
Number one is ask yourself, what is the one thing you're scared of the most? And whatever that is, you go do that. That's number one. Because the fear is to be followed.
Yeah.
Always follow your fear. And that cave that's dark, that's the cave you have to go down. It's like Carl Jung says, the treasures you seek are in the cave you don't want to go into. You
Yeah.
have to go in there. You don't want to go to your deathbed wishing you would have went to that cave and
Yeah.
realize all the treasure that was in the cave, but you were scared. Emotion controlled you. No thanks. That's number one. Number two is do less better.
Yeah.
There's no reason to do all this stuff. There's no reason to have all these products. You're not even making 100 grand. You're not even making $1 million. You should have one product until you make at least $1 million. What are you doing with all
Yeah.
these? Is this busy work? What are we doing? So do less better. Make whatever you're doing leverageable, repeatable, digital, extremely profitable, and then enjoy the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't spend all day doing nothing. You shouldn't spend all day working. You should spend half your day working extremely diligently, focused, and the rest of the day doing nothing and thinking about how great your life is, how proud you are that you actually focused for those 4 hours, how you actually did the things you said you're going to do. That builds confidence, that builds charisma, that builds who you are, who you're becoming. You become congruent with your future self and your present self, and you become one. And that's where the joy is. And then maybe you don't have to drink the alcohol or smoke the cigarettes or
Yeah,
watch the porn because you're fulfilled inside. Like when
exactly.
Jesus was talking about the things he was talking about, he was saying heaven's here on earth. It's here. It's inside of you. It's already here.
Exactly.
But I think, things get misconstrued about what people were saying. I don't care if it's Buddha or Gandhi or uh, anybody. The truth and the power is within you as long as you follow and trust yourself from that whisper that tells you, Jermaine, go start the business. Yo, make the phone call. Say no, say yes. And no, you know what to do. You're just not doing it because you're letting fear control you. But fear is demolished once you start taking baby steps towards the things you said you're going to do. And you start to get proud and start to get confident. And it's a snowball effect. It's just like a muscle. It gets bigger and bigger as you use it. It's not rocket science. So those are the two things I would say to do.
Very good. Very good pointers there. If you ever write a book or another book, what would it be about?
It would be about creators and victims, number one. That might be one book.
Good.
The other one would be about notes. I call it Note to Self. And it's just notes and thoughts that I've had over the years that I like to internalize and remember. Like Note to Self,
Yeah.
when you, for example, this morning's a perfect one. I woke up this morning at like 3:50, and I thought it was like go time for my first time block, and I realized it's 3:50, and that's only like, I don't know, 5 hours of sleep. I was like, that's not gonna work, and so my mind turned on,
Yeah.
and I started to catastrophize the future.
Oh no.
My mind started running wild with these ideas of failure, and your mind goes crazy.
Sure.
And so most people want to distract themselves by watching TV or getting to work or turning on something on your phone or whatever, but I like to sit with it. I like to
Yeah.
accept. And I said, go ahead, go crazy, mind. The floor is yours. And as soon as I give it permission,
Yeah.
it goes away. As soon as I quit resisting it and I accept it, like, yeah, Jermaine's scared, Jermaine's being crazy, it gives me a little bit of space between my thoughts and then who I am. And I'm not Jermaine. I'm just this consciousness that is watching all this shit go down.
Right.
And it goes away. And so that's like a thing I remembered when it went away. I said, note to self, like, remember this moment. Remember how this feels and how you felt earlier, and now it's gone. Everything changes. Everything, there's good, there's bad, and it's always going to come and go. Get fucking used to it. And that's a note to self moment. So that was a long-winded way to
Yeah,
explain.
that would be an awesome book. Yeah, no, that's a good idea for sure. You gather up 10, 20 of those ideas and you get yourself a little book. Do you have a networking event, book, product, invention, or service for the audience to promote? And how do they get in contact with you?
Yeah, so they can just go to creatorslearn.com. And again, I help salespeople and entrepreneurs create lives and businesses of their dreams by using the frameworks we talked about here, where you do less, but you just do it better. You have a better strategy, you have clarity, and you have a plan to execute on in less than 4 hours a day. So if they want help with that, creatorslearn.com is where you go. And no victims can apply.
Very good. Very good. That concludes the episode today. Stick around for a moment and I'll see you in the back room.
After 40 people production.